Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have a very interesting video here. This time working on a 2005 Lexus LS430. The customer concern, this is actually coming from Don's Automotive in Georgia. The concern with this instrument cluster is it works good. You work the whole day. As long as you don't turn the vehicle off, that cluster will work properly. But then if you shut it off and you wait for like, 10, 15 seconds, or he writing his note around, let me see, that's just dark unless unplug and plug in, will stay working until shut off for 15 minutes or more. I'm actually being able to reproduce it here with just a few seconds. Um, this instrument cluster, for what I can do here, I don't need much. I have actually a lot information as usual from Identifix. So these are the internals of the actual instrument cluster. This is Toyota giving us very good information. It tells us how the powers and grounds and everything works. I'm going to show you in a second how this instrument cluster looks on the other side. You got to be careful because again it's connected. But the nice thing about this one, well, these are the pinouts. It tells us the connector on the back. Uh, Very often you will see on Japanese, especially Toyota, when they give you the pinouts, they refer the test to body ground or ground. So in this case, C12, the connector on the instrument cluster is C12 and it's a 22 pin. So when they refer like in here, C12-1, let me make this a little bigger so you guys can see better. Right here, some in that corner, the first box on the left side, right? It says ignition positive, C12-1 is ignition positive to body ground, and it tells you how much it will read, and so on. So we can see that that is positive, and it tells you what it is, ignition signal on multiplex communication, which this goes over to a gateway, so no diagnostics without the vehicle. A check signal, the terminal signal. If we go back or down, sorry, C1210 is a ground switch. So this is for the trip um, and uh, rheostat. You can lower the lights with that, and also reset the odometer. So that's not really important ground. So we have a ground in C1211. I did map everything that we need in here. So we got powers in pin 1, 12, and 13, and then grounds on 22 and 11. Again, this communication doesn't work, and I'm not using any of that um, to reproduce his concern. So yeah, that is very, very often happening in here. So I have also the OEM diagrams. Again, just to double check that that information, even though it's coming from Toyota, it matches my cluster and is good. So yes, everything is perfect. I was able to see if we go up to the first page that yes, indeed, connector pin 1 is ignition positive, 12 is battery, 13 is battery, and so on. As you can see, very nice from Lexus and Toyota. They give us the internals so you understand a little more that is an LED light and how is this working. Let me just see what else I have. Again, the instrument cluster connector. This is from ProDemand, the same thing. This is also from ProDemand, powers and grounds, to check powers and grounds on the instrument cluster. Very basic. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention, in the same pinouts from Lexus, if I scroll down, also tells me and gives me waveforms, and these are for engine at idle speed, and then vehicle driving at approximately 20 miles per hour. So you can see the difference on the vehicle speed signal. So you can double check with where you're working. If we scroll down again, we already saw this, and then this is the pins. We can see pin 1 is a power, connections to computer, the multiplex, air suspension, line control, rheostat, multi-display. 11 is a ground. Then we have 13 as in power, and 12. These are just coming from the driver's side junction box, which is also, I think, the gateway on this vehicle. Connection to their suspension, skid control ECU, 19, 4 pin out, not sure what it is, and then 22 is a ground. I got the same thing. This is a bus test that they tell you. I mean, this is just a wiring check in between. No signals. I could have liked, I would have liked to have, what the signals look like, but this is just, as you can see, checking resistance in between a pin to a pin from connector C12.2 to the gateway 3, pin 3, which is the same wire. So this is just a resistance checked. And this is a wiring color wire diagram that we can see, or I was trying to see how this goes over to the DLC. Again, this is the DLC, but if we see from the combination meter, the only signal that goes out is a tag signal. And this seal that I'm marking here, which is K line I was looking for, is not connected to the instrument cluster. If we get close to here, this S that is coming from the combination meter instrument cluster, it goes to here, and then it has two outputs. It's a touch screen, so I gotta be careful with that. But yeah, so that's just the tachometer signal, so you can read the speedometer on there, but there is actually no communication going into the cluster or from the cluster to the DLC. All right, so that's the information I have in there. Let me take you over to the file. Um, Let me just make sure that I'm not showing his information too much. Okay, that's just for him that I'm actually working on his cluster. This is the back of the instrument cluster. So you can see that it has 6 different layers of electronics. So this is not a very simple cluster to work, even though it's a 2005. So this is a very, very intricate cluster. And be careful, don't work in this cluster if you don't know what you're doing, because this cluster manages 170 volts. Yes, you hear me right, 170 volts in here. So you have to know what you're doing. Don't try to work. If you're just a do-it-yourself, don't touch this instrument cluster, send it out, or you will probably kill yourself. All right, so this is just a picture of that. This is the this is the entire voltage regulating system for this cluster. This is me doing a test on one of the BGT drivers that is inside. I use these little boards because those are such a small components you see right here. Let me get this on the light. So what I use this is in order to plug this to each of these holes, and then I can read it out. Like I have actually one component that's steel. It's going to be very hard to see, but there is a component in there. Let me just point with this so you can see this is a needle that will poke you. That is the size of that component. So yes, I desoldered the component from the actual um, board and read it because this little machine right here, this little tool from Atlas DCA Pro is the Atlas DCA Pro model DCA 75. It's really, really handy. I use it a lot. Sometimes you have markings that don't tell you anything, but with these you can see where you're working because sometimes these small BGTs can be diodes and or can be like this one, a BGT NPN transistor. Again, I check it like this. I have more, as you can see, where it got removed. I'm actually looking for the problem and then working in here. These are the pictures that I was telling you, and these are the voltages on the board. You can see some of the voltages that I did this. This is not that I got it from now. This is me doing it. And as you can see, we got 166.9 volts, 100 volts. So we have a high voltage side and then a low voltage side in here. They're very isolated. This is a transformer that is producing these high voltages and the low voltages as well through obviously transistors that will take and step it down. We got minus voltages too, which is very common when you're working with high voltages transformer. It has, minus 53, minus 53, and then 163 positive. We got a minus 15 volts and so on, right? So this is what I've been doing with him. I think I actually have a fix right now. Let me just, because the only thing that I'm going to do, like in the vehicle, I will not kill the battery. I can do that here, and I'm going to, if it fails again, because I'm in the middle of a test, but I think I have it now repair, is I'm going to remove the ignition And this is his problem. So he waits. Again, he says 15 minutes. I don't necessarily have to wait that long. I've been doing this and I have been able to reproduce it in just 10, 15 seconds. So let's just hold it a little bit here. Also, by the way, you guys can see how much effort I put to try to help others and work on my stuff in here. It is 8:33 p.m. on a Saturday. Some people think it's like success come for free. No, it does not. You have to work hard for your business and make it happen. I do really enjoy what I do as a mechanic, as a diagnostician, and in my lab working in electronics. I spend hours, hours and hours learning and testing and doing what I do. And also, I'm trying to kill time talking to you guys. I know that I see you, but you can see me and you can hear me. My subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing for my channel. I really appreciate that. So let's see if this works this time. And it didn't. So it's still, like I said, it's still happening. You see, 10, 15 seconds and it's doing it. So, yep, if I turn now everything off as Don says, if I kill the battery and I restart this, see, right now both of my switches are off, battery on, ignition on, it's now come back to life. So no, I'm still in the process of working, as you can see, and this is hours and hours of trying, and sometimes it's very hard to work with a component that is so complicated because especially when you have to remove boards, you cannot then find the issue, especially like this. If I kill the power and I start working on the component or on the instrument cluster, everything is okay. It has to be a power down, and again, 10, 15 seconds of no ignition, which is a hint. And I have narrowed it down. Let me flip the board over. All right, so I was saying I had narrowed down that when I miss the 2.5 volts in here, right now the ignition is not on, but we don't have that. But when it's working, this will read 2.5 volts. So I'm going to set this on again, and I will know that it works or not if I have, you see right now I'm reading 0.79 volts. I know this cluster is not on. If I turn everything off and I turn it back on, this is now going to read 2.5 volts. You see right there? So this is exactly, right now that cluster is working 100%. So I'm working on this section of the board to try to find the culprit of this issue, and I will keep you guys posted. I hope I can fix this because this is a very common issue on these beautiful vehicles and beautiful instrument clusters. They are very expensive, and now I think it's no longer available. So yeah, it's always sometimes it's impossible, especially from such a complicated component, but I always try my best. All right, guys, so let me keep going with my testing. I um, I have been working on trying to solder, resolder, trying to find a short because it looks like it's a short. Again, as you saw there, we have right now and 2.4 volts. So the only weird and funny thing is it only happens when you power off. So if the cluster is working, there is no short. But then when you turn the ignition off and wait again 10 seconds and you power it back on, when it doesn't work, and that sometimes, like I said, it has to be, you see, if I go too quick, it's there. Now the cluster is working 100%. But if I wait for that 10, 15 seconds, I'm able to reproduce the concern and then see that I am indeed missing that 2.5 volt rail. Very nice. I love electronics. I hope I can find this. This is like a challenge. And then if I can make it work, it will be also profitable for me because then I will be probably the only one that is fixing these clusters without replacing major components or the entire board. So let's see what I can find and I keep you guys posted. Let me see if this happens again. Yep, you see what I mean? Every Every 10, 15 seconds, I can reproduce that. So I don't have to wait that long. But yeah, that's the beginning of the process of diagnostics. But still, I got like probably I would say got a good 6 hours on the instrument cluster, and I always try to gather the data as I go and then see what I'm missing. All right, guys. Try not to make the video too long. I will probably make this video part one, and then keep you posted if I am able to fix this. Thank you so much for visiting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. If you like electronics repairs, you're in a very, very good place to be. Yes, please subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell like that you're notified when I'm uploading new content. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye bye.